So, lads, today we're going to be talking about whether or not the Indiana Fever have any shot of replacing Temi Fagbenle. Before we get on to that, we're doing Hoopsmas. We're going to be trying to upload 5 videos every single day, and we are trying to get to 39.8k by the end of the day. If we could do that, that would be absolutely insane. I don't think we'll be able to do it today, but if we could even do that over the next couple of days, that would be incredible. But anyway, we got to talk about Temi. We got to talk about what Temi Fagbenle being gone means, and is there any way possible for the Fever to replace her? Because it's going to be so difficult. So difficult for the Indiana Fever to replace Temi Fagbenle. Because Temi is, and I mean that, she was their best defender. She was a runner. Teams stopped going for offensive rebounds because they were scared of Temi Fagbenle out rim running their centers. She was, through the first 10 games of the season, she was better than Aaliyah Boston. And I mean that. She was genuinely better than Aaliyah Boston through 10 games. And she's gone. Temi Fagbenle's gone. Look, I think a huge reason that Temi Fagbenle's there, like, we've even heard the coach of the Valkyries, Natalie, basically saying she wasn't surprised at all that Temi was there, and that, like, it was expected that Temi was there. I think a lot of people are going to be kind of coming along with my theory that Temi Fagbenle was somebody that the team was never going to be able to afford. That they were trying, she was probably going to ask for Katie Lou money, and the team couldn't afford that, whereas a team like the Valkyries can afford to give her big money. And it's just it was just unfortunate that we lost a player as good as Temi, because, well, the money's just not there. If the money's not there, the money's not there. There's nothing really you can do about it. But it's going to be really difficult for the team to replace Temi, because I think there is a near 0% chance that we see Nelissa Smith starting the season as power forward. I think Nelissa Smith has more trade value because she has a favorable contract. She has a very, very favorable contract, and I think there's no trade for a power forward that does not involve Nelissa Smith. Like, teams, as much as Nelissa Smith doesn't have that much value, like, if there are teams that are trying to get off a player, getting Nelissa Smith on a rental isn't the worst thing in the world, because there still is potential there. And if you're giving someone up in the last year of their contract that you know is going to leave, then it's not like, it doesn't make that much of a difference, honestly. That's why Nelissa Smith is obviously going to be a trade target. Not that she's going to make any huge difference. It's that there still is that potential there. And considering the fact that the team can just let her walk next year, and the reality is there's a good chance she's like, not protecting, but like she's kind of coming in and replacing somebody that can walk and she can walk as well. It's not nearly as much of a risk, especially because it's going to be Nelissa Smith in addition to an asset. Because I don't see Nelissa Smith playing the way Stephanie White wants to play, nor do I see Nelissa Smith wanting to play a bench role. I think they're going to have to find a starter. There's no question about that. They're going to have to find a starting power forward, because I think Temi was never really going to be that, and they're going to potentially have to find a bench power forward. They might trust Katie Lou Samuelson in that bench role, but if you have Katie Lou Samuelson, you can't have, like, Katie Lou Samuelson, as much as she tries hard, she's a 3 masquerading as the 4, a non-defender who can be good to stretch the floor. I think they're probably going to look and use Dantas as a purely center, and I don't mind Dantas backing up Aaliyah Boston. The big issue was Dantas with Aaliyah Boston on the floor. And you're like, you can't have Dantas with Aaliyah Boston, but she's also terrible at a short roll. But I do think the team's going to run a lot less of the high pick and roll this year. So I think Dantas, and she's going to be on a much more favorable contract to what Temi was probably going to be making post unrestricted free agency. So I don't, I can kind of see it, but I think they got to go overseas. I think they've really got to go overseas. I think the most important player for the Indiana Fever right now to look for is Janelle Salon. I think she is the most important player. Like, it is very difficult to find a high energy power forward, and you've got Janelle Salone, who is a not she is the same age as Paige Beckers, I'm pretty sure. Like, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, she's like a couple of weeks older than Paige, and if she was in this year's draft, she would be a top 3 pick. If there was a guarantee she would come over, she went to college instead of playing pro, she'd be a top 3 pick. So she can kind of do a bit of everything. I would really look to bring her over. And then, because she can play 3-4, the problem is when it comes to the draft, is a lot of people are really, really hyping up Sonia Citron. It's going to be hard at 8 to take Sonia Citron. It is going to be really hard to take her and replace Temi Fagbenle unless you can get something overseas. Because if you want to look at the WNBA free agents this year, there's literally nothing. There is nothing at that power forward position. Like, as far as like power forwards are concerned, like Neka's staying, Satu's gonna be cored. I think Satu's probably gonna stay. Maisha Hines-Allen. Do you want Maisha Hines-Allen for a year? I don't. Izzy Harrison, no. Like, Izzy Harrison is a not particularly good defender, not particularly mobile, not a particularly good shooter. Like, I don't exactly know what Izzy Harrison does. And I mean that. Like, I actually don't know what she does on the floor at this point in time. Ariel Powers, no. Bree Turner, no. Alicia Clark is like 40. Temi Fagbenle is the first center you've seen outside of New York, and I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. She just barely doesn't play for the Sun. Awak Kuier, unless Dallas don't want Awak Kuier and she ends up being like nothing in a trade value, she can play as a backup big. But I'm looking here, there's no free agents available in the league that play the power forward position. So you've got to think outside the box. And I think you've got to take... And even a Janiah Barker is there. As much as she's 6'4", she's there on potential. You've got to set your sights then on Anissa Morrow. You've got to set your sights on Anissa Morrow. And I think as far as energy, defense, and running, I get it. She's not 7 foot. Or she's not 7 foot. Jeez, she's not 6'4". But she can still rebound extremely well. She runs the floor hard. I think Anissa Morrow is probably going to be the Fever's pick. Or they might just shake up everything and take Sedona Prince and, become the actual villains of the WNBA. But yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one to see how they replace Temi Fagbenle. But there's no like for like replacement for Temi Fagbenle out there. You're gonna have to look overseas. Like, they went overseas to get Temi in the first place. You're gonna have to look overseas. You're gonna have to use Nelissa in a trade to bring in an upgrade. And I'm trying to think of potential upgrades to the power forward position. You're gonna have to find one somewhere. Don't know if it's going to be easy, but you're going to have to find one. And they're not in and I mean that they're not in the greatest position in the world, the Fever, to replace her. Because there could be a chance that they couldn't do anything with her. Maybe there has to now be a trust that Katie Lou's going to be able to play a bit the 4. Unless you can get Janelle Salone. If you can get Janelle Salone, okay, that's a good pickup. But I do think in the draft, they can't afford to give up that draft pick. They really can't. Like, they need an Anissa Morrow type player in order to play that, like, 4, maybe at times small ball 5. And if you guys are wondering, saying, oh, she's too small, she's taller than Afisa Collier. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.